Gregory and Gower. Gregory and Gower, we're next. Understood. I just want to make sure you're hearing me. Gregory and Gower right next to Paramount Studios. Thank you, Jack. It has, and interestingly enough, it's in a neighborhood just off of Gower. This is the cross street is Gregory now. And let me come up the block here and show you. We got a skirmish line here on the east side of Gregory, and as I pan across, you see a huge group there within that neighborhood. And as I continue up the street, there's another skirmish line, a little bit smaller response by the LAPD. And this is where just moments ago they were calling for help because they were surrounded by a large group. So that group is being allowed to go westbound on Gregory right now, or at least most of those that were here, but the larger group is facing eastbound. This again is happening right next to Paramount Studios here off of Gower and Melrose, but here again is the skirmish line by LAPD, and those people are there in that neighborhood, and they're sitting down on the ground. It's very peaceful right here. But again, a help call a short time ago got the attention of LAPD. They're sending additional, what I heard was 100 units here. We'll have to verify that, but I'm actually seeing some units rolling into the area right now as I look out the window. You got it. Pictures again, okay, you got it, and live on Telemundo, understood, and streaming. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Beechwood. Beechwood and Santa Monica. Okay, that's probably it then. Yeah, I saw them come in and we're looking for, I'll tell you on the microwave. Where's that airship, Mike? Say that again, Mike. Center left. Hey, Jack, I'm sorry, we're trying to locate this. There's a group that might be starting a fire here. come down here. Okay, they did not light it on fire. Well, oh. I'm going to go back to that other scene, Jack. They did not set it on fire. Too far. El Centro and Gregory. El Centro and Gregory. What, Mike? Hey, we're hearing about a pursuit on the 101. I see some cars going fast, but I don't know. Okay. Okay. Okay, Fox's helicopter's over it, I think. I'm being told. But do you have eyes on it, Mike? They jumped out of it. Okay. Yeah. You do? On the freeway? North or south? 1 minute for Telemundo. Understood. I'm sorry, Booth. I missed you. I got a bunch going on. What's going on? We are. We are. Yeah. Okay, you got it. So they're on the major ahead of us, and this group is heading westbound through the neighborhood. The next major north-south is Coenga. Live on Telemundo, thank you. This is Romaine and Lillian Way. Romaine and Lillian Way. Copy that, thank you. Romaine and Lillian Way. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Willoughby, this is Willoughby and Vine, Willoughby and Vine. This is Willoughby westbound at Lillian Way. Westbound Willoughby at Lillian Way. Okay. Willoughby and Cahuenga, they're making a southbound turn. Willoughby and Cahuenga, southbound turn. Thank you. Yes, that I'm showing you. It's pretty much straight down my side to about 10 o'clock. Okay. I'm sorry, yeah, can you repeat that? Yes, they are. Thank you. It is Cahuenga and Willoughby is where the group has moved to. They pushed off to the west through Willoughby. There's a couple of groups here that have kind of fractured off from each other, and they've moved in a westerly direction. So LAPD has been mobilizing the field forces to direct the crowds in a southerly direction right here along Cahuenga. But right now, very peaceful again, a peaceful protest happening here in Hollywood, and we'll see which way the crowd goes. They do have an option of continuing westbound on Willoughby, but it looks like there's a branch of them that are sending down Cahuenga right now back towards Melrose. Yeah, just for now, they just entered this intersection, and it's likely that we'll see them get up and move. Like I said, the group, this is a smaller section of the group. Let me come out wider and show you as I go down south on Cahuenga. The rest of the group has already make their way southbound here, and you see they're moving towards Melrose right now. So it looks like they may be heading back to their vehicles wherever they're parked at, out towards the south and west. So loud. Simon, this, Jack and Jamie, I'm hearing that they're going to do a mass arrest of these people. Also, El Centro and Gregory, those people are going to be going to jail as well. El Centro and Gregory. This is Cahuenga and Waring. They're going to arrest about 100 people at El Centro and Gregory. And then this group will be after that. Here comes the van. This guy right here. This is the arrest van that's coming into Gregory and El Centro. CHP, yeah. That's another van there. Say that again. You can if you, yeah, sure. Thank you. We have a room because I can still see both groups. Perfect. That's perfect. That's great. Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you for joining us on the web. This is Gil Avis in NewsChopper4 Bravo, along with my pilot, Mike Rodriguez. We're looking at Hollywood here. This is the intersection of Gregory and El Centro. There's a group of protesters here in the center of the street that we're hearing now that will be arrested because the curfew is now in effect and they have not dispersed. The other group is close by at Melrose and Cahuenga, and I'll swing the camera over there so you get a look at that. Not too far from that location is another group here that I'll show you right in the center of the screen. They've moved southbound on Cahuenga to Melrose, and now they're dispersing, so that's a good sign. We were hearing that possibly this group would be arrested, but it looks like they're being released westbound on Melrose, and they're moving on their way. But this other group over here at Gregory and El Centro they remain inside the perimeter here. inside the perimeter of the skirmish lines. We're going to move up to Sunset and Gower because we're hearing of some active situation there. There was a Rite Aid there that was being looted, and there's a fight going on with officers. We're going to expedite up there right now real quick, and that's just going to be right here. That's a Hollywood Forever Cemetery there, and we're going up to Sunset. Here is Sunset and El Centro. I believe this is what they were talking about. Off to the right is the, on the bottom of the screen, is the Rite Aid that was looted a short time ago. You see the response, a huge response by LAPD here on Sunset at Gower. That Gower's there on the right-hand side of your screen. Here's El Centro and Sunset. Ouch. Well, we're listening to the LAPD try to coordinate this incident here on Sunset. Two groups that have broken apart from each other from Gower eastbound and Gower westbound. This is, we're looking at Sunset and Gordon, and the LAPD motor officers here are been dispatched to this intersection to shut that down and box in the people that are here in between Gower and Gordon there on Sunset, and they're calling for these people to be arrested on this section of the group. It's a smaller group. They are making their way eastbound on Sunset here, and they're going to come across those motor officers that are just now setting up. In the meantime, across to the west of Gower, You'll see the response by the LAPD, all those units there on Sunset, and the crowd, a larger crowd at this intersection. This is Sunset and El Centro. That's pretty much a peaceful, static scene right now. Here is where the LAPD is going to move their skirmish lines in. Move this line to the east, and those motor officers are supposed to be moving to the west. In the meantime, more units are rolling into this area to support these motor officers. I'm watching a mobile field force coming up. I believe it's Vine Street. About almost 20 vehicles of LAPD, and then about another dozen motor officers that are coming up northbound. They're coming in to assist this situation here on Sunset near Gower. Some of the group there at El Centro and Sunset have broken away. They're running west and then up. This is Argyle. And now this group is breaking up. They're going to be moving in two directions, west on Sunset, north on El Centro. Say that again, Mike. Thank you. Hey there. They pulled off. Okay. No, we are Hollywood. This is Sunset and Argyle right now. Police are staging, but they're trying to make arrests on the groups here, but the groups are moving a little bit too fast for the officers right now to get into position. They're trying to box them in like they are here. And they're calling for arrests to be made. You got it. If you're just joining us on the web, this is Gil Davis in NewsChopper4 Bravo, along with my pilot, Mike Rodriguez. Thank you for joining us. We're watching activity by the LAPD here in Hollywood off of Sunset. This is Argyle and Selma right now. We're looking at a group that's marched up the street here. LAPD, because of the curfew that's in effect, are issuing, they're basically saying they're going to arrest these people if they do not move on and move to their cars to vacate the area. And it appears that they've boxed in several people here along Argyle. The LAPD has set up skirmish lines in different areas here along Sunset, as well as down on Melrose. That Melrose scene in Cahuenga has dismantled. That group has moved off to the west and away from the area, but here in Sunset is the hot spot between Argyle there. And there's the response here on El Centro. LAPD along with the CHP are moving in this area. This skirmish line here is pushing west on Sunset. Here's another one on El Centro. There was a group here that was formed here of protesters. They have moved north here towards Selma at a pretty fast clip, and they've moved out of the area pretty much. Another skirmish line that's set up here. The fire department is on scene for support. We're hearing that these people are all going to jail because of the curfew. That's what they're talking about right now. And so they're trying to get officers in the area to effect those arrests. There are several vans, buses that are here on scene that will be used to take anybody who's arrested to jail. There's a couple of sheriff's vehicles, or sheriff's buses, I should say, that are there on the north side of Sunset. Just to the south here below us, right at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a bunch more LAPD units that responded to this Rite Aid at Gower and Sunset it was probably about an hour ago now. There was a lot of looting happening to that Rite Aid. They moved in quickly and the crowd dispersed. Here's some more south of Sunset. Let me switch hill toast. NOC from Bravo. Hey, Chris from Gill on the 450. Hey, Chris, I think our signal is breaking up a little bit, probably mostly due to the camera ball. How are we looking into saddle, or is there an option for us for maybe OAT or PV? Yes, sir, we are. Oh, man. Sorry, Chris, did you say K-Joy? Someone else talked over you. Let me check with NOC. And Chris, I'm sorry, are we good into K-Joy, or they're telling us we're still in black? Okay, thank you. 2 center to K-Joy, we are now up. Well, this group was being talked about by the LAPD. They may have caught word that this group was going to be arrested. They were going to try to box them in between Sunset and that street that they're running on there, Leland Way. They must have caught word that that was going to happen, or maybe they announced it, that an arrest would be made, but they've moved away westbound on Leland Way from El Centro, just south of Sunset. You see the officers there in a skirmish line. They have moved a little bit south as the crowd dispersed. Looking at Argyle here, a lot of cars on Argyle. It seems like maybe some of the protesters were parked in these parking structures. All of a sudden there was a lot of cars that came out of here as people ran in there a short time ago. This is where the LAPD has also set up a skirmish line between Sunset and Argyle, and they're talking about making arrests here, but it looks like the majority of the people there were able to get into their vehicles, and they're trying to get out of those parking structures and move away from the area. Here's an arrest being made. This is Argyle, just north of Sunset. Two arrested here.
I'm looking at my pictures from KCLA, and they're showing a Walgreens in Hollywood that would just be looted right now.
Okay.
There's some protesters down in front of the entrance that are holding their arms up and blocking people.
Okay, thank you. I'll try to get that locator right now. Hey Jack, fuel, we have well over an hour. Walgreens in Hollywood. Do you know where? Oh, it might be here. Wait, I think I see it. Where are they? Okay, I think let me see, is this it? Right here, this is it. Santa Monica and Highland. Whereabouts? 10 o'clock? Okay. This is it. It's opening is facing west. We are here, Jack. We're here. We're just trying to get in position. There's the protesters that are blocking the Walgreens. Windows are smashed there. It's unclear if they got in. It doesn't look like it.
No, they didn't.
Okay. They were blocking. They are just leaving now because the group has moved away.
So I'm watching a crowd take Channel 5. They're marching in the street in Hollywood somewhere. I see an American flag.
This is likely them.
Yep, that's it.
Hey Jack, you're coming in a little low, but the protesters were blocking the looters from getting in there, and the looters moved on. Everybody's moved on from the Walgreens now. I did. I got the video of them standing in front of the Walgreens blocking. I have exhaust. We're looking at Lexington here, Lexington Avenue and Highland Avenue. The group taking over the intersection here. Yeah, there's definitely a guy up there. LAPD does not like having anybody taking the high ground like that. They will, airship will see that and send up a team of officers to clear any high ground like that. So far, it doesn't look like the LAPD's made it here. They're behind the group about a block away. And now they're up, and it looks like they're going to start to move again northbound. Here's the LAPD and their squad cars. There's the Walgreens that was attempted to be looted, but the protesters blocked the entrance. The window was smashed out a little bit, but they did not make entry because the protesters said no way. Actually, there is a window broken out right there as well, so, but they did not make it into the Walgreens, thanks to the protesters that were blocking it and saying, no way, you're not going to loot this place. Oh, God. Yeah. Hey, Steph. Okay. Yeah, it didn't look like he was armed. We'll see. There's two guys there. There's one with, they both look like they have cell phones. Let's see. Yeah, he's putting away his cell phone as well. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Jack, they are. They have been talking about it, but the group moves on them before they get a chance to get into place. That's the trouble they're having. Let's move back. Wait, Vine, and let's move east, Mike, to your 2 o'clock, right along the boulevard that's under you.
Let's head back, that's fine. Head over to Hollywood. We'll make an orderly transition with you and Gil, and have you stay over the Hollywood crowd for a while. Gil, just, yeah, we'll have you. Gil, I'm going to have Ileana come over. We'll swap you guys out, and you go back down to Fullerton Landing, get some food, and then we will chat after you meet about what we're going to do. Okay, but can I get you guys fed and refueled now, Jill?
Okay, Jack. Jack understood. Sorry, sorry, Steph. I was listening to, or Jack was talking to me. We're trying to get in to find where they're going to make these arrests. Yeah. I missed where they were going to do those arrests. Okay, I think I see it. Say again. Right here on this street, they're moving in. It's south of one south of Sunset. Well, let me look over here now. They're just setting up a skirmish line. I think it's this group they're talking to. But I don't see the people there. Can you...
They're getting arrested. Yeah, okay. Yay. I'm holding senility off for one more year.
Selma and El Centro, but Leland. Oh man, Leland, I missed the cross. CVS. Looters in a... Leland at... here's where they're going to make the arrest. There's a CVS with looters in it. They didn't say the locator. Here's the arrest. You got that, Mike? Just one south of Sunset there. You can go forward a little bit if you want. Trees will get out of there. 1, 2, 3, 4 at least. Two, 3, 4, 5. This is Leland, just west of El Centro. Leland Way and El Centro. You can move west, Mike, just forward if you can, and I think they're all behind this tree in the building. That guy have a dog? What does that guy have? That guy has a dog. Hey Jack, you might want to mark the tape that one has a dog with him. Okay, thank you. Leland and El Centro. Leland Way, just west of El Centro. You can, let's see. So there's a couple here behind this tree, Mike. If you slide left, it is an east-west, yeah. If you go this way, it'll clear it up. There it is, yeah.
To Hollywood for you.
Yeah, so if you want to move over the street, I think it'll clear it up even more. Okay, let me pull out so you'll get an idea. So you see the big construction building under construction and the empty lot?
So this is, again, Bill, this is Leland Way, El Centro in Hollywood, right?
On Leland Way, just west of El Centro Avenue. Leland Way and El Centro Avenue.
Guys, this is what's working right now. Disperse all these large groups. I say that we get all these bodies taken care of. We got additional resources. Let's get loaded up. We'll try to move on and take some more. I got another one over in Coinga. That's warming up with the address. Anyone available for a minute?
They're calling it about 50, 50 in custody, 50, they're calling it.
Hey, Greg, it's from 2 months, I got 2 months closing around 6 minutes, and everyone's like, I've got 40 bodies, so I'd love to be held for a few minutes.
So I got a mobile field force that can load up and come over to Sunset and Coinga.
And Jack from Gill, we still have about an hour of fuel left. MTA bus. There's an MTA, hang on. Where is it? Not correct. Okay, that's a false. Cahuenga and Argyle on Sunset. Cahuenga and Argyle on Sunset. Should be right under us. Sunset. It's I think it's under us, behind us. I do copy. We're clear. We're clear, Mike. Yeah. Cahuenga and Sunset, 200 people looting. So they're calling it now.
Oh, looting is starting on Hollywood Boulevard. Do you see the airship? Because okay, one over a couple. Because I heard them say that Hollywood Boulevard. Oh yeah, I think that's what we need. Yeah, there we go, perfect. They're at Sunset and La Brea currently, Jack. Yeah, no worries. I'm just gonna take a moment to throw on my sweater. Yeah, exactly, but it's okay. I'll just throw on my sweater and we'll be good. Okay. Cool. On that street there? Just south of that. Oh yeah. Okay, looks like they're going to be going northbound on La Brea. Northbound La Brea, they're making that turn. 10-4 Jamie, just copied you. Thank you. And thank you to all of you who are joining us online. I'm Miliana Marino of here in NewsChopper4 Alpha, along with my pilot Sarogar Betian, as we watch a group of peaceful protesters make their way through Hollywood. They're currently going northbound on La Brea, coming away from Hawthorne Avenue. This is a group that we've been watching for quite a while. It's a group that originated near Crescent and Sunset. A group that numbered at about 400 people at its peak, maybe even more. This was part of a protest that was put on by singer and artist Lizzo, and it has been a peaceful protest thus far. At one point, the protest even making its way over to Hollywood and Highland before continuing to travel through the streets here of Hollywood. We've been looking at some of the signs that these protesters have, and a lot of them do make reference to George Floyd. I've seen some make reference to Trayvon Martin. They are calling for an end to police brutality, as well as to seek justice in the death, most recently of George Floyd, but other young African-American men and women that have died in altercations with police. The protesters, though, continue walking here north on La Brea. However, there is, of course, the curfew well in effect, which means that even though they are not committing any acts of vandalism, they're continuing to peacefully protest, they do have the risk of getting arrested by authorities for violating curfew. At this point, we haven't seen any of these individuals be taken into custody. However, not far away from here, we were, when we first arrived on scene to take over for our partners in NewsChopper4 Bravo, we noticed that there were some arrests going on near Sunset Boulevard, just to our south. So at one point we'll get down there to show you what that looks like. But for now, we'll continue to watch these peaceful protesters make their way here on La Brea, coming up to Hollywood. So a major intersection here in the Hollywood area. Again, Hollywood Boulevard and La Brea. You can see what this is doing to traffic in the area, though. All of those cars right behind the protesters. It's unclear if they are connected to the protest or if there are other people just trying to make their way through. But I would say that at least some of them are participating in this protest. As you can see that there's some people hanging out the window there as they travel northbound on La Brea, coming up to Hollywood Boulevard. I haven't had a chance to check what direction they're going to take when they get to Hollywood, so I'm going to move the shot over there and we'll find out together. And it looks like they are, in fact, going to be going westbound. So westbound Hollywood from La Brea. And as we continue to fly here, we're also monitoring the police scanner up here in NewsChopper4 Alpha, and we are hearing that there is some looting going on in the area, some arrests taking place. We just heard that they actually have 25 people that they're going to take into custody for looting, and that's again here in the Hollywood area. I actually even hear that they're chasing one of those looters now on foot. But we, of course, want to focus on the reason we're here. We want to focus on the peaceful protesters that continue to walk here westbound on Hollywood Boulevard. This, of course, all in connection to the tragic death of George Floyd in Minneapolis, Minnesota, in an altercation with police in that city. All of the police officers who were involved in that altercation have been fired from the department, but at this point, only the main aggressor, former officer by the name of Derek Chauvin, has been taken into custody in connection to Floyd's death. Before coming over to Hollywood here, we had also gone over to the Westwood area. There was another protest also near the federal courthouse over there, just off of Wilshire and the 405 freeway. We were there earlier when some of those protesters made their way onto the 405 freeway, and they cleared off the freeway within 15-20 minutes. And we just had gone over there to see what the status of that situation was. Hold on just a second, everybody. Go ahead, Sarah. What we're looking at right now? Or the looting? The looting, it's in the area, but they don't really, back with you guys here online. We're just coordinating things. There's a lot going on up here. We've got the peaceful protests on Hollywood Boulevard, which is where we want to put our main focus, because we really want to give a voice to the people that are legitimately out here with a constitutional right to protest and ask for justice. And then there is also unfortunately, there's also some looting in the area, so we've got an ear on that, and continuing to listen to that. And then also we're hearing that our other chopper, NewsChopper4 Bravo, is also off to a story as well. Yeah, so we hear that Bravo is heading out to something perhaps in the Inland Empire. We, of course, will have more on that once they arrive. But this is a Hollywood Boulevard with a cross of Fuller. Hollywood Boulevard and Fuller. The bulk of the crowd taking over the intersection here. Of course, still continuing to be a peaceful protest. We have personally not witnessed any of these protesters take part in any sort of criminal activity of any kind. And now they're back on the move, headed back westbound on Hollywood Boulevard. Yes, sir. Sure. There were people, sorry? Okay. And what was the cross to Zelza? Okay. So you think maybe some looting? Okay, cool. I just texted them so that they know. Assignment desk from Alpha. Are we streaming on Telemundo as well, or just NBC? We'll go take a peek. Let me punch in an address real quick, Sarah. There may be some looting that they want to look at. Hollywood and Argyle. They're just about a mile away. Oh, really? Let me tell them. Assignment desk from Alpha. We're also hearing that there may be some activity near the 405 and the 118. They're gonna... Oh, it was a chase? It was a pursuit, but sounds like they're terminating. Could you fly to the east along Hollywood Boulevard, just past the Pantages? That's Hollywood and Argyle, where we may have some looting. They're not streaming. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Here's your Argyle and Hollywood call, Jamie. Oh. It's coming right under us. Copilot monitor map overlay. There you go. And for all of you who are watching us online, we're just arriving on Hollywood and Argyle. Our assignment desk heard that there was some looting taking place, and it looks like we also have arrests taking place. So there you go, the iconic Walk of Fame juxtaposition against some of these people that are now under police custody. Probably anywhere from 10 to 12 people there up against the wall, all handcuffed, and you see the officers there taking their information before they get sent off in one of the metro buses that are being used to transport people to jail. So you see them there up against the wall. Oh. Well, we actually have additional people just under that overhang there, so so all in all, at least 20 people here. Yeah, right here at Hollywood and Argyle. People who are in custody, it's unclear if they are in custody because of looting or if it is related to the curfew violation, as it is past 6 o'clock. Here we go, someone being taken into custody right there who was fighting a bit with police, so they had to not only handcuff his hands, but they also had to tie his legs together to get him into the back of that squad car. He was fighting with them a bit. And now he's in the back of that cruiser for the LAPD's Hollywood division. Now I'm going to punch in an address real quick because we're hearing about some additional activity also in the area, but a few miles away, so let me go ahead and punch it in. It's where the airship is, yeah. Cool. Perfect. There's additional people taken into custody there. This is going to be Vine and Melrose. So Melrose and Vine, we have additional people now under the custody of the LAPD. We're going to check the front side of this building and figure out what type of business this is. We did hear about some looting in the general area. This may be the Pavilions where we heard that there was some looting taking place. And sure enough, it is in fact the Pavilions grocery store on Melrose and Vine, where some looting was taking place. Hey Stephanie, I gotcha. Melrose and Vine in Hollywood. Yeah, I think the door is barricaded. Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, it's barricaded with pallets, but I'm not sure if the store did that to protect the store, or if the looters did that. They were already there. Okay, cool. Thank you, Stephanie. Perfect. Yeah, then it was the store that did it. Smart, though. Oh, there we go. They're moving in. Wow, look at this. LAPD officers climbing through all of the things that were blocking the door here at the Pavilions on Melrose and Vine, trying to gain access into the store to find if there are any looters left inside. It's a big store, so a lot of officers are responding to it.
It's a
to
pavilion.
Get in there and
Where
figure
is
out
it?
if anyone is left. This is Melrose and Vine.
And why are they going in there? Are there looters inside, or?
Yeah, so they had heard that there were looters inside. They already took a few into custody, but the doors were barricaded by the store, we believe. So they had to move everything out of the way in order to climb in there and get into the store. Yeah.
It's coming this way.
For Stephanie. Is the store okay? Is it okay if we stay on this? Just a sec. I wonder if we might have a pursuit. Wilcox and Santa Monica, but we also have we just have to wait a minute because they're going to use our pictures right now, and then we can. They're still deciding whether or not to follow it. It's going to be just off of Santa Monica and Wilcox. The airship's going there now. It's like kind of like Highland and Santa Monica. Jack, yeah, they all climbed in there. They're checking to see if there's anyone else in there. We hear a following though, but we know that the booth is about to use our shot for a tease. So they're bailing. Never mind, it's over. Oh, yeah, 30 seconds.
I'm Colleen Williams with a live update on the protests. You're looking at a live picture right now, NewsChopper4 Alpha in Hollywood. A lot of development since we left you at 6:30. LAPD combing the city, looking for looters, making arrests on the spot. Those under arrest are being loaded onto buses and then taken away. We've also seen police corralling the crowd in Hollywood, marching through the street. Reminder, LA County is under a curfew, so is Riverside. Live coverage online. Still.
Jack, yeah, I believe they are. We're just going to take a quick peek at a following nearby, and then we'll go find them. Where is he looking? Right here. Almost. They were waiting till they put their helmets to make the call outs. And for all of you watching us online, we're at Eleanor and Gower here in the Hollywood area. This is a traffic stop in progress, and there's the driver there actually. I couldn't see him behind the tree, but we see him now. This vehicle was seen in a few areas where there was some looting taking place, so the LAPD went ahead and pulled the person over. The person pulled over without incident, so this suspect now going into police custody for looting. But now we're going to move over and we're going to try to find that large crowd of protesters that we were monitoring before. I believe they're going to be somewhere to our west, so we're going to go take a quick peek and try to find them. Let's see, where are...
Well, hi, everyone. Go ahead, Chuck. I'm Colleen Williams along with Chuck Henry.
I was just going to say we got a lot of activity in Hollywood tonight. I counted at least 4 interesting things that are going on. We had some arrests, 20 people arrested, handcuffs, legged and bound, one suspect. And what was interesting was they were lined up along the Hollywood Walk of Fame there with the stars. Pavilions at Melrose and Vine. About 25 officers went in the store. They believe there were some looters inside. Another guy was arrested as a suspected looter was picked up at Eleanor and Gower in a residential area. And now Eliana Moreno is over at what is left of what was mostly a peaceful protest in Hollywood. Eliana.
You know, Chuck, we're looking at the picture. I don't hear Ileana, but that looks like the Laugh Factory there.
Sure is.
That is certainly an iconic spot. And as we look at this, we want to remind people that curfew went into effect at 6 o'clock tonight. So we're coming up on 2 hours there. We heard from the LAPD earlier today that at about 5:30, they started warning people, started to give them a heads up. They needed to get off the street. As you pointed out, a lot of people have been arrested, but there's still a lot of stragglers. And we might add, some of them are very, very peaceful. But the point is, they don't want anyone on the street at this point.
Yeah, especially the ones that they've already arrested for looting. I guess the big one was really that Pavilions supermarket. It was really strange because the front doors of the Pavilion had been blocked. We think it was the management of the store to prevent looters from going inside. And then you had the odd scene where they opened the front doors and you got 25 LAPD officers, you know, climbing over the barricade to get inside the store. And now they're running from something. Let's see if we can make contact with Eliana again. Eliana, can you hear us?
I can, Chuck and Colleen.
Okay.
We're right at Sunset and Laurel, where it looks like some officers, or deputies rather, from the LA County Sheriff's Department are moving in, and perhaps one of them threw some sort of a smoke bomb, and that's what got everyone running. So they're all running back towards the intersection of Sunset and Laurel. This is the group of protesters that we have really been following now for the last few hours. They started marching from Crescent and Sunset. They eventually ended up in the Hollywood and Highland area before continuing to make their way through the streets of Hollywood. And now I believe technically we would be in the West Hollywood area. And they have been peacefully protesting most of the time. They're really not associated with any looting that has taken place. But oh, there we go. That individual there just went down. It's unclear exactly why. Nobody pushed him. He just kind of fell there in the middle of the street. Again, this is going to be Sunset and Laurel. And as you can see, deputies from the LA County Sheriff's Department moving in.
Yeah, you wonder if they're armed with rubber bullets there. As we continue to watch this, something else that we saw, and we've seen it a couple of times in the past couple of days, that was very unusual. Ileana, I believe you were over that drugstore. I'm not sure whether it was a Rite Aid or a CVS, but there was one broken window there, and there were a couple of protesters, I'd say maybe half a dozen or so, who were trying to keep looters away. As we look at this situation, can you remind us what that looked like?
Yeah, it was actually Gil Levis who was over that earlier, but I was watching his shots, and we know that the people who are out here peacefully protesting want to keep the focus on that. They want to keep the focus on their protest, on calling for justice in the death of George Floyd. So when they saw that people were taking advantage of the fact that they're out here trying to have their voices heard, and then were looting and were disguising themselves as being part of this peaceful group, they didn't want to have anything to do with it. They were asking them to please not loot the area. We also saw something very similar yesterday at the Pike outlets in Long Beach, where the good guys were trying to keep the looters from hurting their overall message. But unfortunately, they can only do so much. They can only hold back the people who are really opportunists, rather, for lack of a better word, who are out here trying to take advantage of this situation.
Are they appearing to leave the area?
Yeah, it looks like they're actually U-turning. They're leaving the area back in the direction that they came. That was really interesting, though, I gotta say, because they got out of their vehicles. They, as you mentioned, Colleen, it looks like they perhaps fired a few rubber bullets, and now they're heading back towards the east. This is gonna put them closer to Hayward and Sunset, and it looks like they may actually be, yeah, they're gonna continue eastbound. So they're gonna go eastbound on Sunset Boulevard. We'll see if they get out of their cars again. Perhaps they just want to position themselves further to the east, but that was rather interesting. You would think that they would have stayed here and focused on this crowd if their goal was to get them to disperse, but it looks like they got in here for a few minutes and are now leaving the scene.
Eliana, I wonder if it had anything to do with the fact the protesters got down there on the street with their arms raised over their heads. You know, we've seen banners saying, you know, hands up, and that's what they did. It's kind of a a slogan that's been attached to many of these protesters. Do you think that had any effect on the sheriff's officers who were there and then they just left?
It very well could be, Chuck. Or the other thing that I'm thinking is there are a number of other calls in the area, calls that I could describe as more pressing. We know that there's still quite a bit of looting going on in the area, and we have seen dozens upon dozens of arrests. So you saw the sheriff's helicopter there in my shot just about a minute ago. I'll see if I can capture him one more time. But I know there he is. He's monitoring everything from up above. So he very well could have told the deputies on the ground, hey, I'll keep an eye on these guys. You guys continue on to those more pressing calls, and I'll just keep you posted on where they go from here. Because besides blocking traffic, and there really isn't too much traffic at this point, these protesters really haven't been causing any issues. They have not been responsible for any of the vandalism or looting that we have seen today. And now they're continuing here eastbound on Sunset, coming up to Hayward.
You know, we can tell you our other chopper's in the air as well. NewsChopper4 Bravo. It's on its way to Riverside. We understand there are as many as 200 to 300 protesters in the downtown area there, sort of where the Mission Inn is, if you're familiar with that area. I was monitoring some of the pictures coming in upstairs. We know that sheriff's deputies and Riverside PD are getting ready to move in on them. So we'll keep an eye on the situation. We'll get to that. Ileana, this is one area in Hollywood right now, Hayward and Sunset. You've been flying all over this afternoon. Can you give us an idea of where some of the larger groups of protesters are right now, other than this?
This is probably the largest group that we've seen within this last hour, but we did go take a look at that protest group in the Westwood area. That was the group that you saw on the 405 freeway near the Wilshire Boulevard exit. We went to go take a look at those protesters to see where they were, and we actually found a good number of them. I'm going to say at least 24, if not 36 people, very close to, I believe it's going to be Beverly Glen and Wilshire, roughly that area near the golf course. And we saw that they were all being taken into custody by the LAPD. We did not notice any protesters near the Westwood Federal Courthouse. That whole area has cleared. The freeway has cleared. But we did notice that a number of the individuals that had been involved in that protest that eventually ended off on the 405 freeway, a lot of those people are now in police custody.
Eliana, was this group at all part of the other group that was over on Hollywood Boulevard where you showed us? I guess there were 20 people lined up on the curb there next to the Hollywood stars. Is this group a part of that, or is this totally separate?
I think that at one point, Chuck, they probably were part of the same group, because when we were flying over this crowd earlier, it was a lot larger than what we're seeing here right now. We estimated that it was a crowd of at least 400 people, if not more. And so what we're seeing here is significantly less than that. So at some point, I believe that they did split off, and that group has already been arrested, and not necessarily for looting. They are taking people into custody for looting, but just an overall reason why they're taking people into custody is for violating curfew. So one of the things I heard over the scanner is even if officers suspect that someone may have been looting, they don't really need that as a reason to take them into custody. They're just taking them into custody for breaking curfew. And of course, if they get information or they get surveillance footage that leads them to believe that that person could have possibly also been involved in looting, then they could add that charge later on. But for now, at least tonight, anyone who is out here past curfew will be taken into custody for being outside.
Ileana, we're looking at a split screen right now. What we're seeing, in addition to your live picture from NewsChopper4 Alpha, is the picture that you shot just a few minutes ago. This is that Pavilions. I believe it was on Melrose and Vine. Can you talk us through it a little bit? You know, we're looking at the officers at the front door.
That was fascinating to watch the officers climb through the doors of the Pavilions. It's the store that's right at Melrose and Vine, as you said. They had gotten word that there was some looting going on inside. And the reason that the officers had such a tough time getting in the door was that the store, we believe it was the store, put up all sorts of barriers in the front of the door to try to keep people out, to keep people away from looting. That particular Pavilions, I believe, has a pharmacy, and of course it has other other items that looters would be interested in getting. And so we heard that there was some looting taking place. We went over there, and when we did, they already had about 10 or 12 people in custody sitting down on Vine, but the officers weren't sure if they had gotten everyone. The store is rather large, so what they did was they cleared a path for themselves by taking pallets down and taking other articles out of the way, and then they all started climbing over everything to get into the store. There was easily 20 officers that made their way into the store to check things out and see if anybody else was inside. We haven't heard if they found anybody else in addition to the people that they already had in custody, but they had to double check to be sure.
And Eliana, as we continue also to
outside?
see on the left side of your screen, the protesters that you're overhead, they're still on Sunset, correct?
Correct. They're still on Sunset. They just passed over Fairfax. The next street coming up, I believe, is going to be Genesee, is what we're hearing. And I'm also listening to something on the scanner. There's a possibility that there could be either a following or pursuit in the area. We have heard about a few followings in the area about regarding possible looters. The officers will begin following those vehicles and eventually get them to pull over. So far, we haven't had a pursuit come out of it all, but they are now coming Sunset Boulevard and Genesee here in the Hollywood area.
Now, as we continue to look at this, we want to remind you there is a curfew. The mayor reminded us of that this afternoon. He said it is from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And simply put, it means you have to stay indoors. Doesn't mean you can drive on the street. Doesn't mean you can walk on the street. It means you have to stay inside. Ileana, these cars, this line of cars right here, would appear to be part of this procession of protesters here.
Some of them are part of the protest. You can look at this vehicle there, for example, the people hanging out the window. A car like this makes it pretty obvious to us, and we know that they're a part of the protest. The other vehicles, though, it's hard to tell. Really, everyone should be indoors by now, so it would lead us to believe that if these vehicles are following some of the protesters, they most likely are somehow involved with the protest and with the cause of having their voices heard this evening. But you can see that there's still quite a few cars out here. I mean, they really shouldn't be out here. It's past 6 o'clock. Again, whether you're in a car or whether you're on foot in the area, if you're out here past 6 o'clock, you could get arrested.
Eliana, do we have any idea where they're headed? I mean, is it possible they could be going back to their parked cars after participating most of the afternoon in this protest? Or
are they headed eastbound or westbound? I'm kind of curious as well, Chuck.
Yeah, so they're going eastbound on Sunset, and I know that they started at Sunset and Crescent. So we're not too far from the area. Ideally, that's what they're doing, is walking back over to Crescent and Sunset where this all began. And I'm continuing to get a little distracted here because we're hearing again on the scanner, it sounds like there may be either a following or a pursuit in the area, and the vehicle may have attempted to run over some officers. So we're keeping an ear on that, and then also continuing to follow the protesters here as they make their way on Sunset coming up to Curson.
Now, we haven't heard any numbers on number of people arrested out there today, but we heard Chief Moore earlier say there'd been as many as 700 arrests, and I'm not sure if that was over the weekend or just yesterday. I think it may have been a culmination of Saturday and Sunday, but 75 people arrested for more serious crimes in LA County. And there you see they're starting to scatter again. Yeah.
Eliana, I'm kind of interested in the pursuit that you're listening to. Is it in this general area?
Yeah, it's in the general area. I'm trying to get the exact cross, and the airship overhead is actually, he's on Crescent is what we're hearing, and Normandy. So we're going to see if we can maybe catch up to that. We can always come back to the protesters here.
Sure.
But we're hearing the airship. He's actually asking what the want is. He's wanted for shooting fireworks at officers as they were passing by. So I'm getting a direction right now. He's on Santa Monica and Vermont. Okay, and now they're calling it a pursuit. So let me punch it into my map here, and we are going to start heading in that direction. We should be there in about 2 minutes. Saro, if you want to head to the directly
And
east.
Chuck, as we're looking at our
that'll get
picture
us
there,
into the area.
that may be the reason we saw those black and whites take off from the location. They took off lights and I assume sirens as well when they left the area and left the protesters there.
That could well be. It could well be.
Yeah, it looked like it was something of an emergency situation. And it's the second one. There was another one in Van Nuys this afternoon where the police there, the LAPD, was trying to keep track of a couple of looters. I don't know what the end result was, but it's a dangerous situation, very dicey, even though people are supposed to be off the street. You see more people walking in the street in some areas as part of this peaceful protest.
And we should also remind our viewers online that there is another kind of disturbing situation that's happening out in Riverside. And we've got a, was it Alpha or Bravo that's headed out?
I believe Bravo's out there with Gil Levis.
With Gil Levis is headed out that way. And as soon as they can establish a signal, we'll bring that to you as well. Eliana has managed to go quite a distance there. And even with the doubler on that lens, it's probably hard to pick out where that pursuit is going. And now we have some video from Riverside. Do I understand that correct?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing, I think, on the split screen there. Yes, Chuck, and there you see the sheriff's deputies. That's some of the video I was watching before I came into the studio here. I believe the sheriff out there, Chad Bianca, is with them. And the one thing that I thought was very interesting, and I watched him take a knee with some of the other sheriff's deputies out there. Obviously, they're meant to signal to the protesters that they're in solidarity with them over the shooting, or not the shooting, I'm sorry, the death of George Floyd, the knee to the neck. You know, unprecedented moves. So many police chiefs, so many officers across the country have spoken out against that particular policing tactic. And what we're seeing is the officers trying to let the protesters know they agree with them as long as it's a peaceful protest. But then they see themselves lined up after curfew on opposite sides of the fence here.
Let's see if we can establish contact with Eliana again. Eliana, you got any more information on this pursuit?
Hey, Chuck, yes, we do. Last we heard was Fountain and Hyperion. And so we're probably just about a minute away. So we're just arriving on scene. At this point, we're hearing he's going to be going eastbound. So we're trying to figure out if there's any units behind the vehicle. At this point, I don't think there is. I think it's just the airship. So it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for us to find it, but we, of course, will do our best here. But
and once again, the want was that the individual had...
There's a spotlight about to come up on it, so that'll help us in our search here.
The want was that the individual was firing a fireworks at an officer. Was that it?
Sunset? Yeah, so what we heard was that the person was wanted for shooting fireworks at officers as the vehicle was passing by. And so that is why they got the airship over it, and now they're trying to get units behind it as well. Again, Fountain and Hyperion were the last two cross streets that we heard, but very close to the Echo Park area is where we're at now.
You know, that's one thing we saw this weekend many times in the Melrose area. On Melrose, some of the protesters were shooting across the police lines with fireworks, M80s, things like that. And, you know, as the mayor said today, you know, you might think that is a cute idea, it might be funny at the time, but don't do anything that will mess up the rest of your life. Ileana, is this the car or the vehicle we're looking for?
Yeah, this is the vehicle we were looking for. We didn't have a vehicle description, so it made it a little bit more difficult. And there's no units directly behind it, which is just adds to the difficulty. But thanks to my pilot, Saro Garabetian, and then we monitored the airship overhead, we were finally able to find it here. It's in the Echo Park area, just off of Sunset and Lilac Terrace. You can see how fast this vehicle is moving, and I'll work to get our speedometer. Pardon me, our speedometer up and running so that we can monitor the speeds of this individual. You see that one unit of the LAPD just starting to arrive on scene there. So I'm monitoring here the streets as we come along, and I'm going to get our map overlay system up and running so we can look at the streets and the speeds together as he comes through the Echo Park area, continuing here on Sunset.
Yeah, that map overlay and the speedometer right there really does help us. He's moving along. If he's on Sunset and he's doing 60 plus miles an hour, he's slowed down just there.
Yeah, and look, there are no police vehicles behind it at this point, but we did see that one unit of the LAPD get very close to it. So we'll see if they manage to get behind it. But currently going here into the Bunker Hill area near Cesar Chavez intersection coming up. Let's see what happens. And this is where Sunset becomes Cesar Chavez. And now we have a unit of the LAPD behind the vehicle. Oh, and now he's getting on the freeway. Sure enough, getting on the freeway here. I'll figure out which direction here in just a moment. But it looks like it's going to be likely, though, the 101 freeway. And there's another unit not even knowing that this is the vehicle that is being pursued. Now the pursuit vehicle is in back of one of the police cruisers here.
Very curious shot there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And I believe... Yeah, so I was going to say, I believe we're going on the 101 freeway here. We're going northbound 101, coming away from Cesar Chavez, coming away from the downtown LA area.
And you know, it's very interesting. Is this a caravan of officers headed somewhere else and he just stumbled into this?
It very well could have been a team of officers that was heading up to Hollywood to assist with the arrests that were taking place, and they found themselves in the mix. Because look at that, they're going to continue
looks like
on.
it now.
So,
yeah, it does, doesn't it? Now, Eliana,
who would have thought we'd ever see something like that?
Would the other officers know that there was a pursuit going on or not?
They would have known because they can see the night sun of the LAPD airship, and of course they can monitor the scanner, but they were likely asked not to get involved. And so for that reason is why we're only going to have that single unit that was originally behind the vehicle continue to pursue it. And the airship is still overhead. I continue to listen the way he is calling out the streets as the pursuit continues on. But we are just making a turn here onto Temple Street. Temple Street coming away from the 101.
So where are we technically? Downtown area?
We're not. I actually have MacArthur Park right out my window. So we're roughly in the MacArthur Park area on Temple, and I'll get you the next cross here coming up. I'm listening to the airship still. I want to see if he's going to send any more units because at this point we only have that one unit of the LAPD as this person continues to run the red light. He had the red there and he just continued straight through here on Temple Street.
You know, it's interesting when we look at Eliana's shot there, Colleen, just how light the traffic is. I mean, very few. There's a Metro bus, but very few cars.
And I'm wondering, as I look at this, and I pose this to both of you, is there only one black and white basically following this car? Because A, he can maybe get the plates, and B, you know, whoever's in the car threw fireworks at the officers and no one was hurt. I'm assuming that. Otherwise, they would have more people following him.
Yeah, we didn't hear if anyone was hurt when he threw the fireworks in their direction or what types of fireworks they may have been. Fireworks may have just been the easiest way to describe what this person threw. And so at this point, I widened out just a moment ago as you were speaking, Colleen. I wanted to see if anybody else was behind the car. And at this point, I'm only seeing that one cruiser. And the pursuit, though, continuing on, still relatively fast speeds for surface streets, approximately 60 miles an hour. And I'm going to use my doubler here. I want to see how well we can see inside. I can see the driver, but I can't really see anybody else. All the windows are just so darkly tinted.
Yeah, it would be very fortunate if no one was hurt, but we have had officers hurt over the weekend. One specifically sticks in my mind, and we heard from Chief Moore that one of his young officers was hit in the head with a brick. Yeah. It fractured his skull. He was in for surgery. He will recover, but who knows how long that will take.
He said they had to put a steel plate in his head as well, yeah.
And back with you guys here. He's continuing here, Normandy and Beverly, and still fast moving, about 70 miles an hour. My pilot, Sorrow, is confirming with the air. Oh gosh,
wow.
that was so close.
That was very close.
Wow. My pilot is confirming with the airship. Whenever the pilot gets a moment to speak to the airship, he's trying to confirm that that is in fact the wand, which was what we originally heard over the scanner, was that it was for fireworks. But you would think that this is might be considered a little much if it was just fireworks. And as you said, Colleen, if nobody got hurt, considering just how busy all of our resources are here in the city of Los Angeles.
But this has escalated. This has escalated to way more than a prank with fireworks right now. We've seen him almost clip one car. He's gotten on the freeway, gotten off, but he's also crossed over that line. There he is on the wrong side of the road right now.
Yeah, wrong side of the road, and of course also driving recklessly and driving at fast speeds through the streets here in the area, running red lights, running stop signs. So even if the original want wasn't anything that excessive, he's added to that list ever since. He's now on a smaller street called Maplewood, and he's kind of maneuvering through the neighborhood. Perhaps he's trying to find his way back to the freeway, and the nearest freeway would be the 101 building. So he's coming up to the Hollywood area. Now I'm concerned about that because we saw how many people are still out there in the Hollywood area. A lot of pedestrians still protesting in the streets. So that's of concern, because if he gets up to some of those protesters, you don't know if he's going to be able to slow down in time. But currently making his way here northbound into the Hollywood area.
Well, you picked the chase up at Hyperion, around that area, is that correct?
That's correct, Chuck. Around Hyperion, somewhat near Silver Lake, just on the west side of Silver Lake, and then he made his way southbound, and he got onto Sunset. So we followed him on Sunset to where it became Cesar Chavez in the Echo Park area, and that's where he picked up the 101 freeway. He jumped on the 101 north at Cesar Chavez, and then exited the freeway again. I believe it was near Olympic, and has been on surface streets ever since.
So we have no idea where the incident occurred with the fireworks.
We don't. We know it was somewhere in the Hollywood area because the airship that we saw was around that area. And I just lost him behind that building. He just went to the east on Sunset, so we're going to try to catch up to him there.
He goes.
And he's making these random U-turns, which is what's making it difficult for us to keep track here. But Saro found him out his window just now. And now you saw when he made that U-turn, now he has two units of the LAPD right behind him.
And he's back on Sunset?
Yeah, so this is Sunset in front of the Netflix building. So it's like Sunset and Bronson. We were out here earlier covering the protests, and he's making a southbound turn here. This isn't Bronson, but it's Tamarind. So it's Tamarind. It's just one street to the west of Bronson.
Okay, as he continues along there, if I remember correctly, he can pick up another street that goes parallel to Sunset there. Is it Fountain? Maybe you just crossed over that?
I think it was probably Fountain.
Yeah, and then I believe also Santa Monica is going to come up too. So it's a few majors that are going to come up here, and he's going to have some options. And he can still get on the freeway if he so chooses. He would just have to go left on whatever major he comes up to. So now he's, sure enough, Santa Monica was his choice, but he's going right, which is going to put him away from the freeway.
But he's heading in the direction of the protesters that we were watching earlier. I mean, he's still like 4 miles away from them probably, but...
Yeah, but at the speeds that he's moving at, he could get over there very quickly. And when someone is desperate like this, my concern is that he's just not going to stop.
You know, it's interesting. We're not seeing any pedestrians out there, but we are seeing a lot of cars on the street, even though the curfew is, almost 2.5 hours now in effect?
Yeah, so people shouldn't be driving on the roads at this point. If they're in LA County, you sure enough shouldn't be walking on the street at this point because you could get arrested. And so that will at least put less people in the mix if people aren't out and about. But unfortunately, there's still some people who aren't heeding to the curfew. And now he's going to come up to a T street here. So he's on Gower. Again, this is a street that we were on earlier today when we were covering the protesters. And so now he's on Gower with 2 units of the LAPD behind him, as well as the LAPD airship overhead.
Is he going north or south on Gower?
He's going
Actually,
south
he's
on
turning.
Gower.
It doesn't
that's the
really
old
matter,
Paramount
does it?
Studios there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's by
Yeah,
Paramount.
he just made the turn there on Melrose. So Melrose from Gower.
Long time ago, Chuck, I used to work in that area. We called it Gower Gulch.
Yeah.
I remember
True
that
enough.
well.
And the pursuit's going to come right under us, so we'll try to avoid having the camera spin, but sometimes it'll do that. But we'll try to keep track of it here as it comes under us. Again, Melrose and Gower are going to be the majors.
So he's heading back to
Melrose
the
and
freeway.
Ridgewood. Yeah, so heading back towards the freeway. We'll see if that's what he decides to do, is to get back on the freeway. If he does, are still relatively light, and that would actually help to put, or rather just to diminish the amount of obstacles that will be in his way in terms of pedestrians and then other cars, because again, the freeways are still rather light here through the area.
Eliana, I just have a crazy little question here. Every now and then we see a little light. It almost looks like a laser
I was
light.
going to ask exactly about that,
And
Chuck.
then it goes away and it's kind of a squiggly line. Is that a reflection, or are they using a laser on him?
I believe
there it
that's
is
going
right
to
there.
be
Yeah.
just, yeah, there it is. I think that's a reflection of the light of the night sun on our lens.
Okay.
It happens from time to time. And the airship did actually say that he was having issues with his night sun, which we can tell, which is why it's kind of flickering. And I believe that's why we're seeing that,
Back on the
that
freeway,
little light
huh?
show up every now and then. Yeah, so now it's on the freeway, and he's going to be getting on the 101. I'll give you the direction here in a moment. I believe it's going to be southbound, though. So yeah, it's going to be southbound 101, and the direction that he's going in now will take him into the downtown LA area.
So basically,
have-
he's made a huge circle. I mean, Hyperion's not that far from where he is now.
Yeah, he basically
loop.
went.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big loop. He went one way on the 101, and now he's going the other way on the 101. This is right at Vermont. It's where the 101
Sure.
splits, where you can see that there's a little divider between the freeway between the north and southbound side. But I'm going to widen out the shot now since he's
Yeah,
on
it
the
looks
freeway.
like the
We're
black
less
and white
likely to
behind
lose
him
him.
is picking up speed as well, trying to close in a little bit.
Yeah, because they could easily lose this guy. He's going so fast. I think
Oh
he's
my
going at
gosh.
100.
Yeah,
Let me
you
put
just,
the camera right on him.
Whoa.
Your speedometer just is fluctuating between 100 and 120 miles an hour. Do we have any idea how many people are in this SUV?
We haven't heard over the scanner how many people the police think are in there, but we've tried to check, and those windows are just so darkly tinted. I can just barely make out a figure in the driver's seat, but we can't see anybody else inside. And at no point during this pursuit have we seen them lower the window or throw anything out or anything of that nature that would help us to determine if people are in certain seats within the car. But wow, look at these speeds, guys. He is really booking and trying to get away from authorities.
And this is the LAPD in pursuit here.
Still the LAPD, but because we're now on the freeway, the CHP could take over. And the reason why that would be best in this situation would be that the CHP is the police of the freeway system. So even though certain units of the CHP would take over here, if he got on other portions of the freeway, different units of the CHP would be able to come in.
Is he getting on the 110 or what is? Yeah.
Yeah, he's going 110 south. So this is going to put him just next to the buildings in downtown LA. It's going to put him just west of all of the big buildings in the heart of Los Angeles. This was a portion of the freeway that was shut down on Friday with all of those protesters. Fortunately, no protesters out here tonight as he continues southbound 110.
You know, it's interesting. Last night we heard from the police chief in Long Beach that so many people were trying to divert attention from the issue at hand that they and an airship over this. It makes you almost wonder that might not be a concerted effort here as well.
It very well could be, especially if the wah is what we originally heard it was, which was throwing fireworks at the officers. It very well could be a distraction to get some of the attention away from some of the looting that is taking place. But I can guarantee you,
And resources
the LAPD
as well.
Exactly. It takes away 2 ground units, and I'm sure they have plenty of ground units. So maybe those 2 ground units don't play that big of a factor. But it also takes away an airship, and that they don't have as many of. So 1 airship is now completely devoted to this, in addition to the 2 units that are now following this suspect south on the 110.
Boy, I can't believe that SUV can go that fast.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if your
It's over
speedometer is
120.
really working there, Ileana, because he's gone up over 120 miles an hour there.
And I believe it's actually correct. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm also listening on the scanner just to kind of confirm the numbers that we're getting. And we are hearing anywhere from 100 to 120. So that sounds about right.
Oh my gosh.
Incredibly, though. I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, we're having trouble keeping up. That's why we're kind of so far back here. He's heading southbound here on the 110. So this is the Harbor Freeway. He's going to pass right by USC, right by the Coliseum, and really just using any lane that he needs to get by as he continues here southbound 110.
Oh boy, he looks like he almost started to lose control there. So he's already past the 10, correct?
Yeah, so he's already south of the 10 freeway, and so we had to ask for a special permission here from LAX to let us work in their airspace, and so that's why we'll hopefully get a little closer as minutes go on here. But he's going to be just on that other portion of the 10. This is where we've got that express lane that goes above. And he may be temporarily obstructed by it, but hopefully we'll be able to keep tabs on him here. But watch that CHP unit, or rather the LAPD unit. He's really trying to keep up. I mean, we're still looking at, what, 100, 110 miles an hour? And I believe it, because this is fast.
Look at that.
Yeah, you know, it almost looked like he had done some damage, like he might have hit something on the freeway there. But he looks like he's up and running, and tires seem okay.
You know, and to Colleen's point, tossing fireworks at an officer or several officers, man, we're expending a lot of time and resources here on something like that might seem almost kind of petty. But I understand if you're an officer and you have some projectile, you know, thrown at you, it's a big deal. But still, you know.
Yeah, you know, the LAPD, Chuck, you're right, has 13,000 officers, and they're doing shifts of 12 on, 12 off, and they're trying to maximize and get as many people on. But the one airship, to take the airship out of the mix here, when they're using those airships to track, you know, large groups of people, to track looters and things like that, you know, that really does take a major resource out of the mix here.
So now he's going parallel to the freeway on surface streets.
Yeah, parallel to the freeway. Yeah, just on the other side of that retaining wall. So now we're going to see him. I was going to say we couldn't see him, but now we can. He's 69th and Flower. So this is going to be the South LA area, and just based off of our previous experience, we know that people tend to return to an area that is familiar to them. So perhaps this is an area that is familiar to this individual. And I could have sworn I saw someone in the back seat. When you made that turn, I thought I saw someone in the passengers, or in the back seat there, in the middle seat. But perhaps it could have been a reflection of the light. But it did appear that there was somebody sitting in the back.
Almost makes you wonder why they don't grab a plate on this guy and then try to track him that way. So they must know something we don't.
If it has a plate.
Well, that's true, too.
If it has a plate, or sometimes it could be a cold-plated vehicle. And we've talked about this before. Cold-plated vehicles are cars that have a license plate on them, but the license plate doesn't correspond to the type of car. So we saw that in a pursuit that we had a few weeks back. Yeah, this one does have a plate, but I'm sure they ran it, and it's unclear at this point if perhaps it came back stolen, or if it does come back to the registered owner. But for whatever reason, this person is still just refusing to stop.
So you're on Florence Avenue, just crossed over Avalon?
Yeah, so Florence coming away from the 110, and those speeds are accurate. These are surface streets, guys, 100 miles an hour. This is just so incredibly dangerous. Oh my gosh. I pray that he doesn't get a red light, because I don't think he's going to stop. This is a very fast here on Florence, 100 miles an hour.
And remember, that is a heavy vehicle, so if it does strike something, it'll make a heck of a mess.
Yeah, what does it look like, Chuck? An Expedition, maybe?
Something like that. You know, I can't tell, but it's a late model. It's not a new one.
He's
You know,
turning.
he's going so fast that it's hard to even keep up with the addresses and the street signs that you're flashing on the mapping.
Yeah, I mean, I knew he was on Florence, but I missed every cross that he came up to because he was going so fast. He just made a turn there. I believe that's going to be Compton, and he's going southbound. So southbound on Compton,
Is there something
I'm gonna
coming up?
push in here one more
I guess
time.
not.
He's gonna make yet another turn there on Compton,
Well,
and now
that's it.
And now they're running.
bailing.
Okay, so we're gonna
Whoa,
try to stay
one,
with the
two,
driver.
three, four, five.
Five.
Wow.
5 people bailed out.
So there was definitely more than one, that's for
Yeah.
sure. But we're going to stay with the driver. It's just because he was the person that was driving during the course of this pursuit. So we're going to stay with this guy, and I'm going to go into infrared to be better able to see. Right under 1 o'clock, Saro, you should see the night sun. He's just on the backside of those trees, so that's where we last saw him. But you guys saw it as we did. Everyone's scattering there, and there's the LAPD pulling up right now, trying to get some officers into place, but that's not even the direction that the driver went in. The driver went this way. They're going to go after some of the passengers. There's an individual there, but I don't believe he was involved in any way. I think he's just a resident, just kind of taking everything all in. But we last saw the driver here on this street. It's going to be, I hope I'm saying that correctly, I think it's Antwerp Street here in South Los Angeles.
This is one of those cases where the suspects outnumbered the police that were following him, because there's only 4 officers, but we counted 5 coming out of the car.
Oh, you just had another squad car just pulled up.
Okay,
It looked
now you
like
got another one.
a couple more.
Yeah,
Yeah, but nobody
starting
seems to be looking in that direction where the driver went.
Exactly. They're saturating the neighborhood, but at this point they're just focusing over in the direction that the passengers ran. But I believe that's going to be a cruiser. Perhaps that's a cruiser there. It's definitely a car that's arriving on scene there. And I see an individual walking away, but he doesn't match the clothing of the person that we saw running away. But again, the last location
Yeah,
that
there are
we
a
saw
couple
that
people
individual would have been that area right there.
I would assume this is going to be pretty time consuming if they ever find the people who are in that car. Do you know if the airship was able to keep up with anyone?
Well,
Yeah, so we're hearing that
They
some
think they
arrests
have
are
something.
taking place, and that's the direction that the passengers ran in. So it appears that at least some of the passengers are being taken into custody.
yeah, 3 of them went over to the right.
Correct.
One went down the street one way, and the other one went up the street
Up the
another
street.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like it was. There's another guy right there. So we're hearing that another suspect is right under the night sun. They're in very close to Nadeau and to Antwerp Street. And we're going to continue, of course, to monitor everything that's going on here on the scanner, but we're going to start to make our way back to Hollywood.
Well, that should take you, what, 10 minutes? Maybe not even that.
As the chopper
Yeah,
flies,
it should
Chuck.
take us about 10 minutes to get back to
About
Hollywood. So
10
we're going to go
minutes.
back there. We, of course, don't want to lose focus on the importance of today's protest in that area. So we're going to start making our way back to the north.
Let's remind people what this all started with. This started up in the Hollywood area to begin with. We saw officers scatter with their lights on. It appeared to be an emergency of some sort, or perhaps a call for help. But someone had thrown fireworks. That was the original want on this. Someone had thrown fireworks at police officers or sheriff's deputies or someone there, some sort of law enforcement. And that's why they took off and the chase ensued. Do we have any more information on what's going on in Riverside as well right now?
Jack, where...
Well, we're going to stay with Eliana's pictures as she heads back to Hollywood. It is a gorgeous shot, gorgeous night out there. So online, obviously you're watching us. That's what we're going to do until she gets in position. Probably take her, she estimated, about 10 minutes or so. And Colleen and I will rejoin you live on NBC4 at 11 o'clock for all the news. We hope to see you then as well.
Jack. We can do Hollywood for about 20 minutes, and then, well, it'll be 20 minutes from now, and then we'll need fuel at that point. Will do. There is? Where? Right under us? On the freeway or? Oh, right there? Okay. This truck, you sure? Yeah. He's right on my side, but that's an unmarked unit. Assignment desk from Alpha. We think we have a chase. The airship's on this one too. Hawthorne? Yeah, so Hawthorne PD, Jack. Oh, my mic is up. Yeah, Hawthorne PD. We're northbound. We're northbound 110. Coming up to the 4 level. Okay. Yeah, no. Hopefully Gil can hear me. Hey, Gil from Alpha on the 450. He's northbound 110, right next to Dodgers. It's a white truck. They just put a marked unit behind it. It's got a bunch of stuff in the back. Awesome. I'll watch it for you because it's going through the tunnels. Cool. Did they tell you what the want was? No? Oops. Jack, we did not hear the want. We hear Gil is in place, so we're going to go peek at Hollywood before we get some fuel. We're heading to Hollywood. I'm just going to keep my eyes on it. Oh, Rampart has another one. Tech 2, channel 40. There's another one. Copy that, Jet. Copy that, Gil. We'll try to get it. There's another one. Let's go to La Brea. La Brea and Lamprey. Wanted for ADW. On a police officer. Yeah. La Brea and Fountain. Okay, cool. We're almost there.
Assignment S from Bravo. Do you know if we're streaming? Did he say yes? Jack, I'm sorry, did you say yes or not yet?
I don't know yet.
Oh.
By my friend. Stand by.
Okay, no worries. He's got traffic here. He's got construction here. Into the cone zone. Northbound 110 heading to South Pasadena. He's got nowhere to go right here. Oh no! The CHP and a fire truck right there. He went through the cone zone right into those units and was able to squeeze by. But wow, what a close call for those. That CHP and several fire trucks there that are along the 110 freeway. Wow, some construction here on the 110 freeway. This truck desperate to get away. This is a Culver City police chase. Hey Jack, did you say we are streaming now? Copy, thank you. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us on the web. This is Gil Levis in NewsChopper4 Bravo, along with my pilot, Mike Rodriguez. We're over a police chase. It's Culver City police that have been chasing this white pickup truck. Right now, he's northbound 110 freeway. He's already came past the 5 freeway, so he's heading towards South Pasadena. He's going to run out of freeways shortly, but he had some close calls on the freeway here as he came up to a cone zone, went into the cone zone, and then approached a CHP unit that was guarding several fire trucks along the freeway on the right 2 lanes, and nearly collided with that CHP that was stopped there. We got several units behind it, northbound 110 freeway. And he's coming up to the end of the freeway right now. It's going to put him into the South Pasadena area. Here he comes to the end of the freeway, and that's going to put him right off a green light. Fortunately, they're squeezing by that car. Notifying Pasadena, South Pasadena PD. You see he's a couple of units there as he blows through the intersections. If he keeps this direction going, he's going to run into the 210 freeway. Ran through that red light. Pasadena PD being notified right now. He's a high rate of speed here, hard on the brakes. He's going to intersection here. He's going to make a right turn there, wide right turn, eastbound. Eastbound on, I believe this is Green Street. We are into PV. Thank you. Eastbound Green at Euclid, right through the intersection there. Wow, high rates of speed here. He's in a tree-lined street here. He's going to continue to pop in and out of trees. Green Avenue, yeah, crossing Hudson. Crossing Lake. Oh, really close call there at Lake. That's unbelievable, the speeds here we're looking at on surface streets here while he's hard on the brakes right now. He's got an intersection. He's setting up to turn left. Left turn. This is going to be on Catalina. And he might be running out of steam here. He's got to be bailing. He's right under us, Mike, my side. Bailing out. There goes a passenger. There's the driver with the hands out. And he's going to go right down the passenger. There go, those units right there are going to go after the passenger. The driver has pretty much said enough's enough. I've had it. And he's down on the ground. This is Catalina Avenue and Colorado Boulevard. I have exhaust. 6 o'clock. Driver at gunpoint. Other officers there on the sidewalk. These other officers are running after the passenger. The driver, look at that. He just assumed the position there on the ground. He put his hands behind his back and said, that's it, I've had it. He was at a high rate of speed on the 110 freeway. Culver City police were chasing this vehicle. Here's another person coming out of the vehicle. Out of the rear. That's the third, at least the third person that came out of the vehicle right there is being taken into custody. Here's a tighter shot of that person being walked away. Came out of the back rear of the pickup truck. The driver in the meantime on the ground there. Now they'll make their arrest on the driver, and that'll do it for this chase. Unknown if the third person that we saw, the first one out of the car that ran into the parking lot, is in custody or not, but this driver is in custody. One other passenger and a bunch of officers that took off after the passenger. Okay, we're done. This is Catalina Avenue and East Colorado Boulevard. We're done. A couple of police chases tonight. This one ending in Pasadena, Catalina, and Colorado. Culver City PD assisted by the CHP on this one. Yeah, that one is over. Suspects in custody. Yeah, it's Pasadena right now, Pasadena. What is going on here? There's units rolling south. A couple more units here, Jack, rolling south. We're going to look at what they're looking at. Is there an airship there? There might be another. Okay, there might be another chase over here that Pasadena's going to. Off our nose is the airship. Is he going down the freeway? They did stop on the curve. Okay, it's stopped. We're done. We're going to Hollywood. Sunset and Highland. Oh, okay, Jamie, thank you.
cool. You know, if available, just to kind of stand by and hold the line. Maybe that'd be cool.
Mayor, this is NewsChopper4, I believe.
Sunset and Vine, 87 in custody.
You're headed back to the point of, you're already flown over Van Nuys. Go ahead and start your air.
I do. I think it's going to be a little south. Right. Right under us, there's supposed to be a bunch of people in custody. I don't see 87 people. Oh, maybe here. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. That might be it. There they are. They're on the south side of the street, south of the parking structure. Simon Des, Bravo, Jack or Jamie, did you guys get this shot already? It's 6 o'clock. Okay. Hey, Jack and Jamie, this is what I'm hearing from LAPD is 87 people, 87 in custody. DeLongpre between Ivar and Vine. Is there any way we can just get just north of the parking structure, like right over it and steep? You have eyes on it, right? Oh, you don't. Let me come out wide. See the center ornament dome? Yeah, just behind it. Yeah, much better. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. $30. Yeah, there's definitely at least 80. Did we lose the AC? Oh, it's okay. So those lights. I think the lights of the parking structure are getting in my lens. If you go west, yeah, that should clear it up just a little bit. Cahuenga and Sunset. Yeah. Yeah. I see. Okay. That might be over here, Mike. Do you smell that? Is that us or is that the fire? I think it's us. Yep, it smells like a belt. Unbelievable. Do you, shoot, it might, there's some flares over here, back at our 4 o'clock. Do you see anything up there at the Cahuenga Pass? No, it might be those flares, but I don't see any smoke. Yeah, it is. It is. I can smell. I could tell it's the AC belt. Can you do a quick flight down the 101 there? I want to see what these. I think that might just be. Okay. Okay. Copy. Okay. Copy that. Sunset and Cahuenga. Jack, here's Sunset and Cahuenga, CNN building. This is right around the corner from those 87 that are in custody. I don't. I'm guessing it's for the curfew. This thing is out my 9 o'clock. You got it? Okay. Okay.
So let's hunt around and check out Hollywood, okay? Just take a few minutes to hunt around.
Okay. Sunset Boulevard and Schrader, Jack. Sunset and Schrader. They're going to be making some arrests here. People sitting on the curb. Oh, you were? Okay. Yeah, they're talking about towing cars away. They have about 30 cars to tow. Okay, Eliana got this earlier. Where was that bus at? We can cruise. What are those cars? Got him. He's in this. Right off our. Hut. Okay, okay, Jack. If you hear me, this is DeLongpre and Hudson. DeLongpre and Hudson. This was a man with a gun that was running from police. Man with a gun. Hudson and DeLongpre. All right, I think we can move on from this. He's in custody. That's over. Okay, cool. Here's a shot of one of the cars being towed away. Oh, curfew. This is interesting. Those cops. They are. Hey Jack, this is officers being transported in a trunk. oh, oh my God. Maybe. Maybe. Oh no. Wow. Yeah, for sure. Right. Boy, that was interesting to see some creative mobilization there in a looked like a civilian vehicle. Officers pouring out of that four-door sedan, using the trunk to move some of the officers in a van as well. Right near the CNN building there, Sunset and Cahuenga. Here's a line, Jack, here's a line of arrestees. They're going into the sheriff's van. This is Sunset and Gower. Okay, we can move along. How much? Okay, Jack, about hour and 40 minutes. 1 hour and 40 minutes. These are more arrests at Romaine and Sycamore. Let's turn left, Mike. Hollywood and La Brea over here on the 9 o'clock. I don't see anything there. Okay. We could take a look. I did hear Anaheim having some issues. South Coast Plaza, okay. From where we're at right now for South Coast Plaza is about 20 minutes. Okay. Yes. Okay, sounds good. No. No. Hey Jack, just so you know, we're going to land at the Echo Park building real quick to clean the lens. I got a couple of bugs on it.